Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Dratnos' Let's Play of Civilization V, Gods and Kings Game of the Year Edition. So, those of you that know me and who've watched my channel before, will know that I've done 2 Let's Plays of this game before, and not gotten that far in either of them. But luckily enough, they've just come up with God of the Year Edition, which means there's all sorts of new DLC and stuff. So I'm going to justify that as the reason that we're starting a new series here, and not continuing the old one. Because honestly, if we started back there, I haven't played it for 4 or 5 months, and I don't remember what was going on. So anyways, we're gonna get going. We're gonna play some Civilization V. Let's set up a game. So which leader should we be? I think I've gone through all these at some point on another video, but I know some of these are new, because of being in the DLC that just came out, that was part of the Game of the Year edition. Let's see. Ooh, the Netherlands is new. Who else is new? The Maya? How interesting. After researching theology, receive a bonus great person at the end of every Maya long count calendar cycle, every 394 years. Each bonus person can only be chosen once. That's pretty cool. That's a really cool way of working in the Mayan calendar thing. Let's see, what else are these? Which other one of these are new? Polynesia, I think, is new. You can move over oceans immediately, so normally you have to research a technology to get guys over oceans. Anyways, I'm just gonna pick something, I'm gonna random it up, because I know you guys want to see actual gameplay. And, let's do an Earth map, because I always do Earth maps, because that's fun. We'll move on to, let's go to the normal difficulty, and a marathon game, so you guys have lots and lots of content. Advanced setup, do we want to do anything in the advanced setup section? Doesn't look like it. Nothing special. Nothing special to do. Start the game. Alright, let's do it. Alright, we are playing Queen Elizabeth.
Praises upon Her Serene Highness, Queen Elizabeth Gloriana. You lead and protect the celebrated maritime nation of England. England is an ancient land, settled as early as 35,000 years ago.
I hope the audio balance
is
good.
seen countless
Should have really checked that more thoroughly.
Each in turn becoming a part of the fabric of the people. Although England is a small island, for many years your people dominated the world stage, their matchless navy, brilliant artists, and shrewd merchants giving them power and influence far in excess of their mere numbers. Queen Elizabeth, will you bring about a new golden age for the English people? They look to you once more to return peace and prosperity to the nation. Will you take up the mantle of greatness? Can you build a civilization that will stand the test of time?
Good question. Alright, so let's take a look at what we get for being the English. We get this Sun Never Sets bonus, which means that our naval units move faster, and we get an extra spy when we can get spies. We get longbowmen instead of archers, or instead of crossbowmen. And we get Ship of the Lines instead of, or just a new ship. So it looks like we probably want to be kind of a ranged naval empire if we can find the ocean near us. Now looking at where we start, we are on a river, so that probably flows to an ocean somewhere. I'm gonna guess maybe this way, because there's a mountain that way, and, you know, maybe, that's just a gut instinct that maybe the ocean is in this southerly direction. And also there's some ancient ruins here, which are always good to grab, because they contain bonuses. So let's go ahead and grab... Let's move our warriors, see if we can see a bit better. Okay, we can't really. Let's move into the jungle. Oh yeah, that looks like an ocean right here. Wow, I was absolutely correct. Great. Alright, so that was the end of turn 1. Basically, the way this game works, if you don't know how, you have a set of units, you can move them around, it's like any other strategy game. It's turn-based. The first few years, we start at 4000 BC. First few turns take out 15 years apiece, and then it gets progressively slower until it's like half a year apiece, right around modern times. And that represents how more things happen at a faster pace as we progress in history. Anyways, let's try and figure out where a good place to build a city would be. So there's a coastline here, but we don't really want to build a city on a marsh. That's not a great call. Marshes just aren't that great for places to be. So it's usually a good idea to get your first city built as soon as possible. But given that this is going to be our capital and it's fairly important, it's going to be worth spending a few extra turns just looking around and trying to find a slightly better place. Now, I prefer forests and grasslands to jungles, So next turn I'm going to explore down this way and see if there's a better spot maybe down here. And we'll of course grab the ancient ruins. Ooh! So what happened is our warrior, which is the weakest unit, equipped itself with advanced weapons found in the ruins, which happened to be spears. So the advanced weaponry they found was a sharp bit attached to a stick, which is advanced at this time. And we also got shields and helmets. And these, we've also just revealed a barbarian encampment, which lies on top of a jungle. Now, luckily, we could probably kill him because we just got upgraded weaponry. So let's see what happens next turn. Next turn. Alright. First off, let's explore here. See if we... Because the reason I move my settler first is that if I move here and I realize there are barbarians right here, then I'll still have time to get down here with my spearmen. Now that I know there aren't, I will go ahead and just raise the attack here, see if we can get these barbarians out of the way early. Yeah! Alright. So we took 22 damage and dealt 38 damage. That's how you can read this up here if you're in a big enough resolution that you can see that. It's not all that important. Okay. It's now 3955 BC. This looks like as good a place to settle as any other. We'll get quite a few supplies because of the nearby forests, and at this point we can't really afford to go waste more turns trying to find a better place. So let's found London here. I suppose being on a river might have been cool, but it's a marsh. Marginal decision, I believe. Let's see what production we can get. I might be wrong about marshes being bad, though. I remember that being in Civilization 3, that they gave you all sorts of disease and stuff. So, what do we build first from our city? Well, we could get a worker. They can, like, chop down forest once we research that technology. We could get a scout so that they could explore very well. He would be able to move fast through these forests and jungles. So that's potentially a good call, actually. So that we can try and maybe grab some early ruins and get some bonuses from that. We could get a warrior. Always a decent choice to improve your military. Luckily enough, in Civilization 5, your cities are fairly well defended against enemy attack, because they can actually shoot at the enemy, and the enemy needs to actually hit it for a few turns before it goes down. So in Civ 3, for instance, you just walk on an undefended city and it turns into your city. But here, the city gets to fire at you, and it takes like 5 turns to take it down to capturable. So warriors are less necessary to be fortified on your city in the early game. And we could also build a monument, which is the kind of expansion city-based choice. That would increase the culture of our city. Culture growth lets you expand your borders more rapidly. So basically, every time you get a certain amount of culture in a city, the border expands and takes over a new square. So we'll go ahead and start with the monument. That's a fairly safe choice. That's what I usually go with. Now, here comes an interesting part. We get to research our first technology. So this is a technology tree. You can see it goes all the way into the information era with like nuclear fusion and nanotechnology, and then future tech. And it goes all the way back here to when we just learned agriculture. So we can go with pottery. Pottery is potentially a good choice, actually, because it'll lead to sailing and optics if we're going to be trying to become a naval nation. The other benefit of pottery would be that we can get granaries and shrines, which provide food and faith, respectively. Faith is the new thing in Gods and Kings, which is the expansion pack that I am using. Animal husbandry would let us make pastures on cows and sheep, and also let us see if there are horses around, which is good, because then we can later use them for horseback riding. That's also potentially a good call. Archery will let us build archers. Archers are ranged units. They're good if they're, like, fortified on a city. They're a good kind of defensive fortify units, and also for long-range bombardment in an attack. And mining would be that we could get mines and also chop down the forests, which might be a good thing to do. However, I think the first thing that we'll do is grab pottery, because the benefit of pottery is that we can get a granary soon, which will help us grow faster and get everything faster. Let's go ahead and do that. I hope you guys don't mind me explaining and my thought processes here, because it slows down the game a little bit, but it helps you see into the mind of my gameplay here. Alright, so we've hit the brute again. No big deal. We're gonna win this fight, but we're gonna probably be dropped down to about half health in so doing. Oh, and we also got promoted. So when your unit fights, it gains experience points, and it gets promoted as it reaches certain amounts. Basically levels up. Now, when it gets promoted, First off, you can rename it. So I can name this unit, the Dratconian Ranger. There's not enough space. We'll call them the Dratconians. And then you can also give them a certain upgrade. So there's an upgrade tech tree. At first, you don't have that many choices, but then depending on what you pick, if you keep leveling up your unit, you get all sorts of crazy stuff. The first choice would be Shock 1, which would give me plus 15% strength fighting in open terrain, which would be like these plains. Then Drill 1 would be the other choice. That would give us 15% combat strength when fighting in rough terrain. So hills, forests, jungles, basically all this type of square, this type of square, and this type of square. And the last choice that's always available when you level up is to forgo getting an actual promotion and a benefit, but just heal up instantly. That's something to avoid if at all possible. However, if your unit is going to die, then it's worth doing because, you know, a living unit with 1 promotion is better than a dead unit with 2. However, we're not really in any real danger of dying here. So let's go ahead and grab Drill 2, gain the rough terrain bonus. Primarily because, A, this fight we're doing, we know we're in rough terrain, so it's going to be a good thing to do, because this encampment is on a jungle. And B, we're already fine if we're attacking an enemy that's in open terrain. That's not going to be a problem. However, enemies in rough terrain might be a problem. They're going to be harder to fight, so let's go ahead and kind of even out our combat effectiveness. Drill 2. And let's now make this attack. Down go the barbarians. We sack the encampment. We gain 75 gold from it, which is good. You'll see we have 78 gold total. We have 3 in income, 3 gold per turn. And you can use gold to buy things, like buy structures instantly, which is useful. So if you can play the game with keeping a reasonable gold reserve, it makes things a lot easier because in a pinch, if you really need something, you can just use gold to grab it. So that's the end of that turn. You'll notice that as I end my turn, it takes about 5 seconds for other people to play. As this game continues, and we get further into the game, that's going to take longer because other civs, the game's going to get more complicated. Okay, so we've just killed a dude here. We could keep going exploring, or we could fortify up until we're healed, or we could return to our city. Those are all decent choices. I'm going to fortify until healed. Press the H hotkey. Now, I'm not going to actually get prompted to use these guys until they're healed again. And they're also fortified, which gives them a bit of a defense bonus. So now we just will wait a few turns for them to heal up before we continue our exploration. They heal 10 hit points per turn, and units have 100 hit points. And each hit point constitutes or represents roughly 1 guy. There are actually 12 guys in a full unit, so I suppose it's 12 divided by 100, which is, of course, 0.12. So each guy... Wait a sec, no, it's 100 divided by 12. 100... Hang on. This math means something. Each guy represents 8.33 hit points, ladies and gentlemen. So every guy that you see is a visual indicator of a unit having those 8.33 hit points. We're basically healed up now. 1 more turn will do it. We're at 91 hit points, and another turn. And there we go, 100 hit points. You'll see they unfortified, and now we can move them again. Let's go exploring a little bit. Okay. You'll notice that I could have moved many spaces if I'd gone this way, or I could have even moved here by going here and here, but I only got 1 space because I moved immediately onto a hill. And the way it works is that rough terrain usually slows you down. It depends on the terrain and the unit. So, for instance, chariots have a really, really rough time dealing with difficult terrain. They only go like 1 square per difficult terrain, but they can go like 6 on open terrain. Whereas units like scouts can move 2 squares in any kind of terrain because they're like mobile people. All right, this is interesting. So taking a quick look at this map, knowing that it's an Earth map, I'd hazard a guess that we might be in the like India area, based on what this looks like, or maybe Texas. This could be Texas. Yeah, so it looks like there's a peninsula here. Oh, and there's a mountain at the bottom. That's weird. Yeah, I have no idea where we are actually. Either India or Texas is my bet. I'm gonna guess India. I'm gonna guess that we're in like what is modern day India in this map, because it's a map shaped like Earth and it's massive. Goes way into the clouds and way directions, all sorts of places. So let's just finish out exploring this this lovely peninsula here. Oh, we've discovered some ruins, and there's an island there. That helps me further suspect that this is modern-day India because I believe there are islands just off the southern tip of modern-day India. Ooh, okay, so we've just revealed cultural artifacts, or found cultural artifacts, which awe your citizens. We've received 60 culture, which means that next turn, we will have reached a threshold where we can actually choose a social policy. So the way it works is that each city gains culture, and that lets them expand, but then also your civilization as a whole gains culture. And when you reach a certain amount of culture, which increases every time you do it, and based on the number of cities you have, you get to adopt what's called a policy. There are all sorts of different policies, but only 3 choices to start with. Basically, what happens is you first adopt a culture or a policy, and then you can take further upgrades in it. It's kind of like talent trees in World of Warcraft if you've played that game, or many skill tree models use this kind of system. So our choices to start are between tradition, liberty, and honor. Tradition is best for small empires, it says, because it increases the rate of border expansion in cities and also grants 3 culture in the capital. Adopting all policies in the tradition tree will grant plus 15% growth and a free aqueduct in your first 4 cities. That's an interesting one. I actually rarely play as tradition. I usually go with liberty or honor. Liberty gives you 1 culture in every city, and when you adopt all the policies, you get a free great person of your choice near the capital. And honor helps you basically become a better fighting army. As soon as you adopt it, you get a combat bonus versus barbarians. And whenever new encampments spawn in territory that you've previously visited, you get a little notification. And you also gain culture for the Empire every time you kill barbarians. And if you adopt all the policies in the honor tree, you grant gold for each enemy unit killed. These are actually all good choices because I'm planning on playing a fairly balanced playstyle here. So let's think a little bit. You know, I rarely play tradition, so I'm going to go with tradition. Tradition seems like fun. So now we've greatly increased the rate of border expansion in our cities. So this tradition is designed to have smaller cities that each have larger borders, and we can get some cool upgrades from this. Monarchy, that's a good one to have because that fits with us being the English. Right. So remember that nation we were talking about, Polynesia? If you like later on, you can get embarking, which lets your units just go into the ocean and hop into little transport ships. But you have to research that first if you're not Polynesia. All right, let's keep this going here. Keep this delightful gameplay going. I think I'm gonna turn up the sound a little bit because I feel like I'm not hearing much noise. Let's go ahead and bump the music volume up to like 14. Sound effects volume up to maybe 60. Ambience up to 40, and bump the speech up to 70. That seems fair. Yeah, now we've got a little bit more background noise, so you're not just hearing my voice for 20, 25 minutes, however long this episode ends up being. All right, we're now Lady Elizabeth of England. So it changes. Interesting thing about those social policies is that it actually changes what title you have based on which one you're currently adopting. So like if you go freedom, you get president. If you go autocracy, you get like I don't even know. If you get tradition though, you get lady or lord. Liberty, I think, gives you some sort of like ancient Greek one because they were the ancient culture that used liberty. Well, for free white landowning men, which is how America started as well. So they were quite a bit ahead of their time, anyways. Right. Let's keep on exploring here. So we have 2 sort of general tactical choices. We can go and explore up here and see what's up there, or we can follow the coast. I'm gonna go ahead and follow the coast because we're planning on being somewhat of a naval empire, and I feel like knowing where the sea is and that kind of thing is potentially a good call. It doesn't really matter. They're both probably decent choices, and since we don't know what's in either of them, we can't know where the better ruins or anything are. So we'll just start exploring this way. I'm pretty sure we are in, like, that this is the, like, modern-day India here that the English Empire is in. Alright, and there's some cattle that we could potentially get at some point. Go ahead and move there, and then move up there. Alright, so we've found a city-state. Colombo. We've met the city-state of Colombo. We are the first empire they have met, so they provide a gift of 30 gold. They are allied to nobody. They are a mercantile city-state. They are a hostile personality, and they have some resources. So the way city-states work, when you play Civilization Gods and Kings, you're playing against 12 or so, depending on the size of the map, 6 to, or even 1 to 24 other people. But city-states aren't those people. City-states never develop more cities. They really don't really make choices for themselves. They're basically like sort of little quest givers that you can also purchase friendship from, basically. And depending on what trait they have, they might give you bonuses. So if I befriend these guys by giving them money, or by doing stuff for them, if they like have a barbarian attack and I fend it off, then they'll provide me extra happiness. Different traits will cause different city-states to want different things. Their personality helps determine what they'll want me to do. So because they're hostile, I need to do things for them more often because influence with them drops more quickly than normal. And also, excuse me, they're going to make requests for me to capture neighboring city-states more often. Also, they have 3 good luxury resources, so it might become worth being their ally, just in order to get access to those, because those are some pretty useful luxuries. Alright, so there's Colombo. You'll see there's a little shield 15, that represents the city's strength. London is shield 10, so Colombo is slightly more defensible than London, primarily because it looks like, yeah, it's on a hill. Hills provide a nice defense bonus. Ooh, we've just developed another citizen here in London. Citizens help you speed things up. They work one of the tiles available in the city. So if let me go in the city view and actually show how this works. Oh, also, London just expanded, and we got this tile in our area. So you'll see Civ 5 based on this hex-based map. Also, the way that cities work, you have a number of citizens and a number of squares in your city. And your citizens each work 1 square, and they can pick automatically, or you can pick for them. They're usually pretty good at picking good places to be working on. And right now we have citizens working this forest to give us 1 food, 1 tool, and 2 gold per turn, and a citizen working this plains to give us 2 food per turn. And then the city itself is automatically worked, whatever tile it's on, and it also gives you an extra tool, so it gives you 2 food and 1 tool per turn. And basically, that's how cities decide what they're doing. Items, like the monument, cost us 120 tools, and we generate a total of 5 tools per turn. 2 from terrain, and then 3 from just buildings. And the building that gives us that extra production is the palace. So your capital starts off with a bonus to production and science and gold, because it gets the palace. So that's a little bit behind the scenes of how cities work in Civ 5. You don't really ever need to actually know that. Okay, we're in an interesting spot here. If we move here, the city-state's not going to like it because we're not friends with them. They don't really want us in their territory, but it's not really going to matter. They're not going to declare war or anything. So whatever. We'll be fine. You'll see we lost a little bit of influence with them. They're now angry with us. But the city-state's personality will always revert to the mean. So we could be at war with them down here, but then as soon as we stop being at war, it'll slowly fall back towards the middle. And if we're great friends with them, it'll also slowly move back towards them not caring about us. And it'll move faster for these guys because they are hostile. Alright, we're losing a bit more influence with them, but that's okay. We needed to get to these ruins, and to be honest, I don't care about being at negative 11 with them because it falls at 1 per turn. So that'll be a non-issue soon. Okay, so now we can either keep following the coast or we can head up here. I'm going to go ahead and head up because, yeah, I'd say this is looking quite a lot like India, though, because these could well be the Himalayas, if my understanding of geography is not horribly mistaken, which it might be. It might be. If I'm totally wrong about where the Himalayas are relative to India, then, you know, I haven't really looked at a map that thoroughly for a while. But this feels like a Himalayan mountain range. You know, lots of mountains. Could very well be. Oh, okay. So, there are a few events have just happened. Events show up here. First off, big events that happen here represent things I need to do before I can go to the next turn. So London, for example, needs a new construction project because they just finished their monument. Now, a barbarian encampment has just been discovered here. And also, the city-state of Colombo has given me a quest, which is they'd like me to destroy that barbarian encampment, and they will reward whoever accomplishes this. So we're going to go ahead and try and make that our new mission with our spearmen. The encampment is on a desert, which I believe again fits with this being India, but again, I may be wrong. So let's go ahead and move up here. Okay, so we've entered some ruins. They've discovered a map, which reveals the area. Yeah, this looks like a big mountain range. So what's the best way to get there? We'll go ahead and move down along here, up here, grab these ruins, and hopefully there's a mountain pass we can walk through there. It's still going to take a while because there's lots of hills and stuff. So yeah, the city-state wants us to kill that. Blah, 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 blah. Alright, now we have a choice here in London. We can produce our settler, our worker, our scout, or our warrior. We're going to go ahead and do a worker, because that'll help our city grow faster by maybe chopping down this forest here, and helping us to get some improvements going. We're going to need workers eventually, so we may as well start that now while we don't have anything much better to build. We're going to have better things to build in 2 turns, by the way, as soon as Pottery finishes researching.
Mae fi yw Buddig, Brenhines y Celtiaid. Peidied neb am Trambrisioi.
Alright, we've just met, Boudica. I hope I'm... or Boudica. Yeah, Boudica. I don't even know that. I don't know that name. I don't know the history. Of the Celts, which is pretty bad because I am Celtic by descent, so, that's pretty bad. Anyways, be it known that you are now in the land of the Celts. I am Boudica, their chosen queen. Do not underestimate me. I'm a queen too. I'm Queen Elizabeth. How cool. Although, I imagine that I don't wear, like, kilts and stuff. Anyways, we've just met somebody. We found one of their units, so we now meet the civilization. And we have a few options. We could declare war on them. We could try and trade with them, but they probably don't have anything we want. And we don't really have the ability to trade meaningful things yet. You have to research technology to let you make an open borders agreement or to have embassies, that kind of thing. We could demand things, which would be a good way to get them pissed off. The Celts almost certainly, she looks like the kind of person that doesn't take well to demand. Some cultures don't mind as much, but she probably does. We could also discuss things with them and be like, we could tell them to not settle new cities near us, or we could make a declaration of friendship, or we could denounce her. Either way, not really stuff worth doing right now. We'll just say goodbye. Nice to meet you, though. There's the Celtic warrior. We could almost certainly take him because we've got our lovely spearmen. Ooh, and they've just met Colombo as well. Anyways, let's keep on moving along here. Good stuff, good stuff. A pantheon has been founded. So pantheons are the new thing with gods and kings.
Shall the clay say to him that fashioneth it, what makest thou?
Alright, so we've just learned pottery. Every technology has a quotation associated with it that is read out when that is researched. So now we can build granaries and shrines. Should we switch production? Let's go ahead and switch production, because I think a granary here would be a good call, and we weren't that far into our worker. And granaries... yeah, granaries are just a good deal, because increasing your food production helps your city just be better. Alright, so there is luckily enough a mountain pass for us here. We'll go through there. An unknown civilization has started worshipping a pantheon of gods, and they have chosen the god of the sea belief. Yeah, I don't exactly remember how pantheons get started. I know that's a new thing in Gods and Kings. Alright, and research. What shall we research? Well, so you'll see here, these all take 42 turns, and these take 27. Basically, the earlier technology is, the easier it is to research, and that helps you not just, like, follow the top line and get to, globalization while somebody else has been, got to mathematics and taken everything. So we could start researching here. I feel like mining might be a good call, though. That'll help us move towards bronze working and get some more spearmen pumped out if we need defense. And also that'll let us chop down forests when we get our worker out eventually. And also producing mines, which should be a good way to increase production. We're going to start mining. Great. So, that'll end this episode of Dratnos' Civilization 5 Gods and Kings Game of the Year Let's Play, Episode 1. I'd very much appreciate it if you could like, favorite, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. I've been notified that now, if you subscribe, you don't actually get, emails when new stuff comes out unless you choose that you want to. So I'd be very much in your debt if you chose to do so. Anyways, next episode, we're going to take these ruins, we're going to see what's in them, and then we're going to attack these barbarians to make Colombo happy with us. And that's what's going to happen. So, my name has been Dratnos, and I know there's going to be a clever commenter, because there always is in every single one of my videos that's like, your name has been Dratnos, what is it now? Anyways, my name has been Dratnos, thank you everybody for watching, goodbye.